father's simple life, the alarm clock screamed at 5 in the morning, pulling Jake Morrison from the few hours of sleep he managed to grab. His body ached from yesterday's work, lifting steel beams and pouring concrete under the harsh sun. At 28 years old, his hands were already rough and calloused, his back sometimes protesting when he bent down to tie his boots. But none of that mattered when he heard the soft padding of small feet across the wooden floor. "Daddy, are you awake?" The sweet voice belonged to Lily, his 4-year-old daughter. Her brown curls wild from sleep, clutching her favorite stuffed giraffe named Patches. She climbed onto his bed, her tiny hands reaching for his face. "I had a dream about pancakes." Jake smiled, the exhaustion melting away as it always did when he looked at her. "Then pancakes it is, princess." He scooped her into his arms, her giggle filling their small 2-bedroom apartment. The paint was peeling in some corners, the furniture mismatched and worn, but it was home. It was theirs. And ever since his wife Amanda left them 2 years ago, choosing a life without the burden of motherhood, Jake had made sure Lily never felt the absence of love. They moved to the kitchen, where Jake cracked eggs and mixed batter while Lily sat at the counter, swinging her legs and chattering about the cartoons she watched yesterday. Her laughter was music, the only sound that could drown out the constant worry about bills, about whether his paycheck would stretch far enough, about being both mother and father to this beautiful little girl who deserved the world. After breakfast, Jake dropped Lily at his neighbor Mrs. Patterson's apartment. The elderly woman had become like a grandmother to Lily, watching her while Jake worked his long shifts. As he drove his beat-up truck toward the construction site, his phone buzzed. It was Tyler, his best friend since high school. "Jake, I need the biggest favor of my life." The voice on the other end sounded desperate. "What did you do this time?" Jake asked, already suspicious. Tyler had a talent for getting into situations that required rescue. "I double-booked myself." Tyler groaned. "I have a blind date tonight that my sister set up, but I totally forgot I promised to help my cousin move." "You have to go in my place." Jake nearly swerved into the next lane. "You want me to go on a date for you? Are you out of your mind?" "Come on, man. My sister will kill me if I bail. Just show up, have dinner, make polite conversation." The woman's name is Rachel Whitmore. She's some big business person. You don't even have to pretend to be me. Just say I sent you instead. No way. Jake shook his head, even though Tyler could not see him. "I don't do dates. You know that, please, Jake. I'm begging you. One dinner. 2 hours tops." Something in Tyler's voice made Jake pause. They had been friends for 15 years. Tyler had been there when Amanda left, had helped Jake move into the apartment, had shown up with diapers and baby food when money was tight. "Fine, but I'm bringing Lily." "What?" "No, you can't bring a kid to a blind date." "Then find someone else." Jake's voice was firm. "She goes where I go. Take it or leave it." Tyler sighed heavily. Okay. But don't blame me if this woman runs screaming an encounter on the street that evening." Jake dressed in his only good shirt, a blue button-down that he saved for important occasions, and helped Lily into her favorite yellow dress with white flowers. She twirled in front of the mirror, her curls bouncing. "Where are we going, Daddy?" "To meet a friend for dinner." Jake knelt down to her level. "You have to be on your best behavior, okay?" "I always am," Lily said seriously, making Jake chuckle. They drove downtown to the restaurant, a place called the Heritage that Jake had only seen from the outside. The kind of place with cloth, napkins, and prices that made his stomach turn. He parked a block away, carrying Lily on his hip as they walked through the busy evening streets. That was when he heard the raised voices. A woman stood beside a taxi, her blonde hair catching the streetlight, her posture radiating frustration. She wore a gray coat that looked expensive, her blue eyes flashing with anger. "I gave you a $20 bill. The fare was $14. You owe me $6. The taxi driver, a heavy-set man with a scowl, waved a bill at her. "You gave me a 10. "Stop wasting my time, lady." Jake slowed his steps, watching the scene unfold. People walked past, glancing but not stopping. The woman stood her ground, her chin lifted. "I know what I gave you. I'm not leaving until you give me the correct change." Something about her refusal to back down struck Jake. She was not yelling or causing a scene. She was simply standing firm, refusing to be cheated. Without thinking, he approached. "Is there a problem here?" His voice was calm but carried weight. The driver looked at Jake, sized him up, and seemed to decide it was not worth the trouble. Whatever. He shoved the money at the woman and drove off, leaving a cloud of exhaust in his wake. The woman turned to Jake, surprise crossing her face. "You didn't have to do that. Looked like you had it handled." Jake adjusted Lily on his hip. "But sometimes it helps to have backup." She stared at him for a moment, really looked at him, and Jake felt oddly seen. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out a $5 bill, holding it out. "I don't like owing people." Jake frowned. "For what? For getting involved? For making him back down? I didn't do anything worth paying for," Jake said, but she pressed the bill into his hand anyway. "Then consider it good karma." Her voice was firm, leaving no room for argument. "Daddy, she's pretty," Lily whispered loudly, making Jake's cheeks warm. The woman smiled, her expression softening. "And you're very sweet. What's your name?" "I'm Lily, and this is my daddy, Jake. And this is Patches." She held up her stuffed giraffe. "It's nice to meet all of you." The woman's smile reached her eyes. "I'm Rachel." Jake felt something shift in the air, a recognition he could not name. He should walk away, head to the restaurant, but he found himself rooted to the spot. "Well, we should get going." Jake finally managed. "Have a good evening, you two," Rachel said, and as she walked toward a sleek black car waiting at the curb. Jake could not shake the feeling that this chance meeting meant something. The dinner that changed everything, the Heritage Restaurant, glowed with warm light, soft music drifting through the air. Jake pushed open the door, Lily's hand in his, and approached the host's stand, reservation under Tyler Chen. The host checked his list. "Ah, yes, right this way." They were led to a corner table and Jake's breath caught in his throat. Sitting there, looking elegant in a navy dress, was Rachel, the woman from the street. The woman he had just helped, the woman who was supposed to be his blind date. Her eyes widened when she saw him. "You, Jake," could not help the laugh that escaped. "You've got to be kidding me," Lily bounced excitedly. "Daddy, it's the pretty lady from outside." Rachel's surprise melted into genuine delight. She stood, moving closer. "Well, this is the most interesting start to a blind date I've ever had. I should explain." Jake started, suddenly feeling awkward. "Tyler is my friend. He couldn't make it tonight and asked me to come instead." He pointed at Lily. "And this is my daughter. She goes everywhere with me. If that's a problem, we can leave right now." Rachel knelt down to Lily's eye level, her movements graceful. "Hi, Lily. It's wonderful to see you again." "And Patches, too. Do you like pasta?" Lily nodded enthusiastically. "I love pasta." "Perfect." Rachel looked up at Jake, something warm in her gaze. "Then I think we're going to have a great dinner." She gestured to the table. "Shall we?" As they sat down, Jake felt the tension in his shoulders ease slightly. Rachel did not seem bothered by Lily's presence. In fact, she seemed genuinely happy to have her there. When the waiter came, Rachel asked Lily what she wanted before ordering for herself, making suggestions and listening carefully to the little girl's preferences. Throughout dinner, Jake watched in amazement as Rachel engaged with Lily, asking about her favorite colors, her stuffed animals, her dreams. She did not talk down to her or treat her like an inconvenience. She gave Lily her full attention, and his daughter bloomed under that focus, chattering away about everything and nothing. "Your daughter is wonderful," Rachel said softly as Lily colored on the paper menu the restaurant provided. "She's my whole world." Jake admitted, "It's just the two of us." "Where's her mother?" Rachel asked gently, then immediately looked apologetic. "I'm sorry, that's too personal, it's okay." Jake shrugged. "She left when Lily was 2. Decided motherhood wasn't for her. We haven't heard from her since." Rachel's expression shifted, empathy flooding her eyes. "I'm so sorry, don't be." Jake looked at Lily, love evident in his gaze. "Best thing that ever happened to us, honestly. We're better off." When the check came, Jake reached for it automatically, then froze when he saw the total. His entire week's grocery budget stared back at him. He swallowed hard, pride warring with panic. "Let me get this," Rachel said smoothly, already pulling out her card. "No, I can't let you do that," Jake protested, even as his mind calculated how he would make the payment work. "Jake," Rachel's voice was kind but firm, "I invited you to dinner." "Well, technically Tyler did, but he sent you. So it's my treat. Please." Her eyes held no pity, no judgment, just simple generosity. Jake nodded slowly, grateful but uncomfortable. "Thank you." As they left the restaurant, Lily, holding both their hands between them, swinging happily, Jake felt something crack open in his chest. Something he had kept locked away for 2 long years. Hope. Dangerous. Terrifying hope. Rachel walked them to his truck, not seeming to notice or care about its dented bumper and faded paint. She crouched down and gave Lily a hug. "It was so nice to meet you, sweetheart. Will we see you again?" Lily asked innocently. Rachel glanced up at Jake, a question in her eyes. He found himself nodding before he could think better of it. "I'd like that," Rachel said softly. As Jake drove home, Lily asleep in her car seat, he could not stop thinking about Rachel Whitmore, about the way she had stood up to that taxi driver, about how she had treated his daughter with such genuine affection, about the warmth in her smile that made him want to believe, just for a moment, that maybe he deserved something good in his life. He did not know that Rachel, sitting in the back of her town car, was thinking the exact same things about him, about his calloused hands that held his daughter so gently, about the way he loved without reservation, about how, for the first time in years, she felt like she had met someone real, someone who saw her as more than a bank account or a business opportunity. Neither of them knew that this chance meeting, this unexpected dinner, was just the beginning of a story that would challenge everything they thought they knew about love worth, and what it truly meant to be rich. The morning after, Rachel Whitmore sat in her corner office on the 42nd floor, the Seattle skyline stretching endlessly before her. Her assistant had brought her usual morning coffee, but it sat untouched on her glass desk. Instead, she found herself staring at her phone. At the number Jake had hesitantly given her the night before, she had built Whitmore Technologies from nothing, turning a small startup into a billion-dollar empire in just 8 years. She had negotiated with Fortune 500 executives, spoken at international conferences, made decisions that affected thousands of employees. Yet somehow, texting a construction worker felt more intimidating than any boardroom meeting. Her phone buzzed. A message from her brother, David, who was finishing his master's degree in Chicago. "How was the blind date? Did you scare another one away with your success?" Rachel smiled. David was the only person who could tease her like that. She typed back quickly. "Actually, it was perfect. He brought his 4-year-old daughter." 3 dots appeared immediately. "What? Tell me everything." But Rachel set her phone down without responding. How could she explain what she had felt last night? The way Jake's eyes had softened when he looked at Lily, the way he had not tried to impress her or pretend to be someone he was not, the way she had felt, for the first time in years, like she could just be Rachel, not Rachel Whitmore. CEO, she picked up her phone again and typed a message to Jake before she could overthink it. "Good morning. I had a wonderful time last night. Would you and Lily like to go to the aquarium this Saturday?" She hit send and immediately felt her heart race. What if he said no? What if last night had just been politeness on his part? Her phone buzzed 30 seconds later. Lily would love that. "Me too. What time?" Rachel found herself grinning like a teenager. The aquarium. Adventure Saturday arrived with clear blue skies and a crispness in the air that promised autumn was coming. Jake pulled up to the Seattle Aquarium in his truck, Lily bouncing with excitement in her car seat. She had talked about nothing else all week, asking 1,000 questions about fish and sharks and octopuses. Rachel was waiting at the entrance, dressed casually in jeans and a soft sweater, her blonde hair loose around her shoulders. She looked different from the polished businesswoman in the navy dress, more relaxed, more approachable. When she saw them, her face lit up with genuine joy. Lily. She crouched down as the little girl ran to her. Are you ready to see some amazing sea creatures? Yes. Can we see the dolphins? And the big fish. And the starfish? We can see everything. Rachel took her hand naturally. Jake felt that same crack in his chest widen further. They spent hours wandering through the exhibits. Rachel did not just walk through. She engaged completely, reading every information card to Lily, exclaiming over the colorful fish, even convincing Jake to touch a sea cucumber in the touch tank despite his protests. It feels weird. Jake laughed, his hand jerking back. Don't be a baby, Daddy. Lily giggled, her small hand confidently touching the creature. Rachel grinned at him, her eyes sparkling. Come on, tough construction guy. Surely you can handle a sea cucumber. There was something magnetic about her laughter, about the way she teased him without any edge, just warmth. Jake found himself relaxing in a way he had not in years, not since before Amanda left, not since he had become solely responsible for another human life. At lunch, they sat outside with fish and chips, watching the ferries cross the water. Lily chatted happily between bites. Rachel listened with the same attention she probably gave million-dollar deals. Can I ask you something? Jake said when Lily ran off to watch the seagulls, of course. Rachel turned to him, her expression open. Why are you here? With us, I mean? You could be doing anything, seeing anyone. Why spend your Saturday with a single dad and his kid? Rachel was quiet for a moment, watching Lily chase birds along the pier. When I was 7, my parents died in a house fire. My older brother was 16. He could have put me in foster care, could have chosen an easier path, but he didn't. He dropped out of high school, worked 3 jobs, and raised me himself. Jake felt his throat tighten. I didn't know. Nobody does. Rachel smiled sadly. He's why I built my company. To pay him back, to give him the life he sacrificed for me. But more than that, he taught me what real wealth is. It's not money, Jake. It's showing up for the people you love, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. She looked at him directly now. Yesterday, I watched you with Lily. I saw how you love her, how you put her first in everything. That's not common. That's not something money can buy. And honestly, it's the most attractive thing I've seen in a long time. Jake felt heat creep up his neck. I'm just doing what any parent should do, but you're doing it alone. And you're doing it well. Rachel reached across the table, her hand covering his. That takes strength. Before Jake could respond, Lily came running back, breathless and grinning. Daddy, Miss Rachel. Come, see, there's a seal. They spent the rest of the afternoon in easy companionship, and when it was time to leave, Lily hugged Rachel tightly. Can you come to our house sometime? Rachel looked at Jake, questioning. If your dad says it's okay? Jake hesitated only a second before nodding. We'd like that. Cracks in the foundation over the next few weeks, Rachel became a regular presence in their lives. She came to their apartment for simple dinners of spaghetti and garlic bread. She read bedtime stories to Lily, doing different voices for each character that made the little girl shriek with laughter. She sat with Jake on the worn couch after Lily fell asleep, talking about everything and nothing. But with each visit, Jake felt the weight of their differences growing heavier. Rachel would mention casually about a business trip to New York, about a gala she had to attend, about decisions that involve millions of dollars. And Jake would think about his upcoming shift, about the leak in the bathroom he could not afford to fix properly, about shopping at the discount grocery store to make ends meet. One evening, after Rachel had left, Jake stood in his small kitchen, staring at the peeling linoleum floor. What was he doing? How long before Rachel realized she was slumming it? How long before she met someone from her own world, someone who could match her success, someone who would not embarrass her at fancy events? His phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Thank you for tonight. Lily's getting so good at reading, and your company isn't bad either. Jake smiled despite himself, but doubt crept in like fog. He typed and deleted 3 different responses before finally settling on a simple heart emoji. The next day at work, Jake's crew was taking a lunch break when his coworker Dennis nudged him. Hey, isn't that your girl? Jake looked up to see a sleek black car pulling up to the construction site. Rachel stepped out, dressed in a business suit, looking impossibly out of place among the concrete and steel. "Brought you lunch." She held up a bag, smiling. "I was nearby for a meeting and thought you might be hungry." The construction site went quiet. Jake felt every eye on them as he walked over, his work boots heavy with dried mud, his shirt stained with sweat and dust. "You didn't have to do that," he said quietly, aware of his crew watching, whispering, "I wanted to." Rachel's smile faltered slightly, sensing his discomfort. "Is this okay? Should I not have come?" "No, it's fine." Jake took the bag, forcing a smile. "Thank you, really, but it was not fine." After Rachel left, the teasing started. "When's the wedding, Miller? You gonna be a kept man? Must be nice, dating someone who can buy and sell this whole site." Jake tried to laugh it off, but each comment was a needle, pricking at his already fragile confidence. That evening, he barely touched his dinner, his mind spinning with scenarios of how this would all fall apart. Rachel noticed his distance over the next few days. Her texts went from immediate responses to hours of silence. When she suggested dinner at a new restaurant downtown, Jake made an excuse about Lily being sick. When she offered to take them to a Mariners game, he said he had to work overtime. Finally, Rachel showed up at his apartment unannounced on a Thursday evening. Jake opened the door to find her standing there, concern written across her face. "What's going on?" she asked directly. "You've been avoiding me. I haven't been avoiding you." Jake lied weakly. "Jake," her voice was gentle but firm. "Talk to me." He stepped back, letting her in. Lily ran to hug her before Jake could say anything, and Rachel embraced her warmly before looking back at him. Expectantly. "Can we talk after Lily goes to bed?" Jake asked quietly. The wait was torture. Rachel helped with the bedtime routine as always, reading 2 chapters of the book they had started the week before. When Lily finally fell asleep, Jake and Rachel sat on the couch, the silence heavy between them. "I can't do this," Jake finally said, the words tearing out of him. "You and me, us, it doesn't make sense." Rachel's face went pale. "What are you talking about?" "Look at us, Rachel. Really look." Jake gestured around the small apartment. "You live in a penthouse. I live here. You run a billion-dollar company. I haul concrete. You wear suits that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Yesterday, my daughter wore shoes I bought at a thrift store. So what?" Rachel's voice rose slightly. "You think I care about any of that?" "Maybe you should." Jake stood up, pacing. "How long before you realize I'm holding you back? How long before your friends and colleagues start wondering why you're dating someone so far beneath you? Beneath me?" Rachel stood too, anger flashing in her eyes. "Is that really what you think?" "It's what everyone thinks." Jake's voice cracked. "My crew spent an entire afternoon making jokes after you brought me lunch, asking when I'm going to become a kept man. Wondering how long before you get bored and move on to someone from your own world, and you believe them?" Rachel said quietly, the anger draining from her voice, replaced by hurt. "You think I'm that shallow? I think you're human." Jake met her eyes. "I think eventually the reality of what I am and what I can't give you will matter. And I can't do that to Lily. I can't let her get more attached. It's just to watch you leave when you figure out I'm not enough." The silence stretched between them. Painful and raw, Jake. Rachel's voice was barely a whisper. "I grew up in a trailer park. My brother and I shared one bedroom, sometimes one meal a day. I built my company from nothing because I knew what it was like to have nothing. Do you really think designer clothes and fancy cars mean anything to me compared to what I see when I'm with you?" "It's different now," Jake insisted. "You're different now. You've been living that life for years. Eventually, this will feel like going backwards. That's not fair." Rachel's eyes filled with tears. "You don't get to decide how I feel or what I value. I'm trying to protect my daughter." Jake's voice broke. "And maybe I'm trying to protect myself too. Because when you leave, and you will leave, it's going to destroy us both. Then you're a coward," Rachel said, tears streaming down her face now. You're so afraid of being hurt that you're throwing away something real before it even has a chance. She grabbed her purse, moving toward the door. When you figure out that love isn't about bank accounts or zip codes, call me. But I'm not going to keep fighting for something you've already given up on. The door closed behind her with a quiet click, and Jake sank onto the couch, his head in his hands. He told himself he had done the right thing. He had protected Lily. He had faced reality before reality could destroy them. So why did it feel like he had just made the biggest mistake of his life? The emptiness 3 weeks passed like years. Jake went through the motions of his life, working, caring for Lily, trying to fill the hole that Rachel had left behind. But everything felt dimmer, quieter, less alive. Lily felt it most of all. "Where's Miss Rachel?" she asked every day, her small face confused and sad. "Did we make her mad?" "No, baby." Jake pulled her close, guilt eating at him. "Miss Rachel is just busy with work, but she always made time before." Lily's voice was small. "Doesn't she like us anymore?" Those words gutted him. "She likes us very much, sweetheart." Sometimes grown-ups make things complicated. Lily was quiet for a moment, then pulled away to look at him seriously. "Did you make it complicated, Daddy?" Out of the mouths of children, Jake thought, but he could not lie to her. "Maybe I did, then you should fix it," Lily said simply, as if the solution was obvious. "When I break something, you tell me to say sorry and fix it. If only it were that easy." But Lily would not let it go. Over the next few days, she drew pictures of the three of them together, leaving them around the apartment where Jake could not avoid seeing them. She talked about Rachel constantly, recounting memories of their time together, asking when they could go to the aquarium again. Jake tried to move forward, but his heart was not in it. Work felt meaningless. The apartment felt emptier. Even his favorite moments with Lily, reading bedtime stories and making Saturday morning pancakes, felt hollow without Rachel's laughter, filling the spaces between his coworker. Dennis found him sitting alone during lunch break, staring at nothing. "You look terrible, man." Dennis sat down beside him. "Still moping about that woman?" "I'm not moping," Jake muttered. "You've been moping for 3 weeks?" Dennis shook his head. "Look, I'm sorry about the jokes we made. We were just giving you a hard time. We didn't know it would mess with your head like this. It's not about the jokes." Jake sighed. "It's about reality. She deserves better than what I can give her." "Did she say that?" Dennis asked. "Or are you just assuming?" Jake did not answer, because from where I was standing that day, she brought you lunch. She looked at you like you hung the moon. Dennis stood up, brushing off his jeans. "Maybe instead of deciding what's best for everyone, you should actually ask her what she wants. Seems like that would be the grown-up thing to do." The words stayed with Jake long after the workday ended. That night, after putting Lily to bed, he found himself looking through his phone at the few photos he had of Rachel. One from the aquarium, her face lit up with joy as she watched Lily. Another from a dinner at his apartment. Flour on her nose from helping make cookies. Each image showed someone completely present, completely happy, completely real. What had he done? The fight for love the next morning? Jake woke with purpose for the first time in weeks. He called Mrs. Patterson to watch Lily for a few hours, then drove to Whitmore Technologies. The building was all glass and steel, intimidating in its modern elegance. He almost turned around 3 times in the parking lot, but he thought about Lily's words. "You should fix it, Daddy." The lobby receptionist looked him up and down, taking in his worn jeans and work jacket. "Can I help you?" "I need to see Rachel Whitmore," Jake said, trying to sound confident. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but please. It's important." The receptionist's expression was doubtful. "Ms. Whitmore doesn't take unscheduled meetings. If you'd like to leave a message or schedule something through her assistant, I can give you the number." Jake felt frustration rising. "Please, just tell her Jake Morrison is here. Tell her I need 5 minutes, sir. Can't just interrupt her day because someone walks in off the street." Before Jake could argue further, the elevator doors opened, and Rachel stepped out, talking on her phone. She looked tired, Jake noticed, with shadows under her eyes that had not been there before. She was heading toward the exit when she glanced up and froze. Their eyes met across the lobby. Rachel slowly lowered her phone, ending the call without looking away from him. Jake. Her voice was careful, guarded. What are you doing here? I need to talk to you. Jake crossed the lobby, aware of the receptionist watching with wide eyes. Please. Rachel glanced around at the curious stares from employees passing through. Not here. Follow me. She led him to a small conference room off the main lobby, closing the door behind them. The silence felt heavy, charged with everything unsaid. Talk. Rachel crossed her arms, her posture defensive. Jake took a breath. I was wrong. About everything. I let fear make my decisions instead of faith. I convinced myself I was protecting Lily and protecting myself. Oh, but really I was just being a coward. Rachel's expression did not change, waiting. You were right. Jake continued, the words pouring out now. I was so focused on our differences, on what I couldn't give you, that I forgot to see what we actually had. I forgot that the best moments of my life these past few months have been the simple ones. Making dinner together, watching you read to Lily, talking on the couch after she goes to sleep. He stepped closer. I come from nothing, Rachel. I've spent my whole life feeling like I'm not enough. And when someone like you looked at me the way you did, it terrified me. Because I wanted to believe it, but I was so afraid of losing it that I destroyed it myself. What are you saying, Jake? Rachel's voice was quieter now, her arms uncrossing slightly. I'm saying I love you, Jake said simply. I'm saying that Lily asks about you every single day and draws pictures of us together. I'm saying that my apartment feels empty without your laughter in it. I'm saying that I don't care about the money or the differences or what anyone thinks. I just want you in our lives. Rachel's eyes glistened with unshed tears. You broke my heart, Jake. You pushed me away without even giving me a choice. I know. Jake's voice cracked. And I'm so sorry. I'm not asking you to forget that. I'm just asking for a chance to prove that I'm brave enough now. That I trust you enough now. That I believe in us enough now. Why should I believe you won't just push me away again the next time you get scared? Rachel asked, a tear finally escaping down her cheek. Because I've lived without you for 3 weeks. And it was the worst 3 weeks of my life. Jake reached for her hand tentatively, relief flooding through him when she did not pull away. Because I've learned that the scariest thing isn't risking my heart. It's living without yours. Rachel was silent for a long moment, tears flowing freely now. Then, slowly, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him, burying her face in his chest. Jake held her tightly, feeling her shake with sobs that were equal parts pain and relief. I missed you so much. Rachel whispered against his chest. I missed you both so much, we missed you too. Jake pressed his lips to the top of her head. God, Rachel, we missed you too. They stood like that for several minutes, just holding each other, letting the walls they had both built crumble completely. Finally, Rachel pulled back slightly, wiping her eyes. I need you to understand something, Jake. When I look at you, I don't see someone beneath me. I see someone who worked 3 jobs to support his daughter. Someone who loved so completely that it changed me. Someone who made me remember what really matters. She took his face in her hands. You think I was doing you a favor by spending time with you and Lily? You gave me a gift. You gave me a family, warmth, realness. Things all the money in the world can't buy. Jake leaned his forehead against hers. I'm going to work on believing that. I'm believing I'm worthy of you, and I'm going to work on being patient while you do. Rachel smiled through her tears. But Jake, if you ever push me away like that again, I'll fight for us. I won't just leave quietly. I'll show up at your door every day until you remember that we're stronger together, deal? Jake laughed. It's the sound rusty from weeks of sadness, but genuine. Can I kiss you now? I thought you'd never ask. Rachel said softly. When their lips met, it felt like coming home. Like finding something precious that had been lost. Like choosing love over fear, faith over doubt. The beginning of forever 6 months later, Jake stood in the kitchen of a new apartment. Bigger than the old one, but still modest by any standard. It was a compromise they had reached together. Rachel had wanted to move them into something better immediately, but Jake had insisted on contributing, on feeling like he was providing for his family. So they found a middle ground. A 3-bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood with a park nearby. Jake paid half the rent from his salary, which had increased after he finished a certification program Rachel had encouraged him to pursue. She paid the other half without making him feel less than. Lily had her own room now, painted purple at her request, filled with books Rachel brought her weekly. And the 3rd bedroom was set up as an office space where Rachel could work from home sometimes. Closing the gap between her 2 worlds, Jake heard the front door open and close. "Daddy!" Lily's voice rang out. "We're home," he smiled, wiping his hands on a towel as they came into the kitchen. Lily ran to him, her backpack bouncing, while Rachel followed with grocery bags. "How was the father-daughter day?" Rachel asked, setting the bags on the counter. "We built a fort and watched movies and had ice cream for lunch," Lily announced proudly. "Ice cream for lunch?" Rachel raised an eyebrow at Jake with mock disapproval. "What kind of responsible parent allows that?" "The kind who believes in breaking rules sometimes." Jake grinned, pulling her close for a kiss. "How was your meeting?" "Good. Productive." Rachel leaned into him, contentment written across her face. "But I'm glad to be home." Home, the word still filled Jake with wonder. This was home. Not because of the apartment or the furniture, but because of the people in it. Later that evening, after Lily was tucked into bed, Jake and Rachel sat on the couch together, her head resting on his shoulder. "I have something to tell you," Rachel said softly. Jake felt a flutter of nervousness. "Okay, my brother called today. He graduated and got a job offer in Seattle. He's moving here next month." Jake sat up slightly. "That's amazing. You must be so excited." "I am." Rachel smiled, then bit her lip. "But I'm also nervous." "He's never met you or Lily? What if he doesn't approve?" Jake took her hand. "Then we'll win him over. Just like you won me over. Besides, anyone who raised someone as incredible as you must be pretty special himself." Rachel's eyes softened. "How did I get so lucky?" "I'm the lucky one," Jake said seriously. "You took a chance on a single dad with nothing to offer but love. You had everything to offer," Rachel corrected. "You just couldn't see it yet." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small box. Jake's heart started pounding. "Now before you panic," Rachel said quickly, seeing the look on his face. "This is not what you think. Not yet, anyway. I know we're taking things slow, and I respect that, but I wanted to give you something." She opened the box to reveal a simple silver keychain with 3 charms, a tiny giraffe, a construction hammer, and a heart. "The giraffe is for Lily, the hammer is for you, and the heart is for us," Rachel explained. "I had it made to remind you that you're not alone anymore, that you have someone to share the load with, that we're a team now." Jake felt his throat tighten with emotion. He took the keychain, running his thumb over the charms. "It's perfect. You're perfect. I'm not perfect." Rachel laughed. "But I'm perfectly yours if you'll have me always." Jake pulled her close. "For as long as you'll stay, then I guess you're stuck with me forever," Rachel whispered. And in that moment, sitting in their home, with his daughter sleeping safely down the hall, and the woman he loved in his arms, Jake finally believed what Rachel had been trying to tell him all along. That wealth was not measured in dollars or square footage or designer clothes. It was measured in love, given and received, in hands held through hard times and laughter shared over simple dinners, in the courage to be vulnerable and the strength to keep choosing each other every single day. He had been so afraid of not being enough, of not having enough to offer. But Rachel had shown him that he had always been enough. His love for Lily, his capacity for devotion, his willingness to show up every day and do the hard work of being present. These were the things that mattered. These were the things that made him rich beyond measure. As Rachel drifted off to sleep against his shoulder, Jake made a silent promise. He would spend the rest of his life making sure she never regretted taking a chance on him. He would love her fiercely, support her dreams, and stand beside her as an equal partner, not because their bank accounts matched, but because their hearts did. And when Lily asked him years later about how he and Rachel fell in love, he would tell her the truth. That sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let someone love you. That real wealth has nothing to do with money, and everything to do with finding someone who sees you, truly sees you, and chooses to stay anyway. That love, real love, conquers all.